Cuello. Quesado. Wela'lin for being here. I started to record, and then it turned out there was no memory card in here. That's fine. This video, I'm going to try and get through it. I have to be going to work soon. I had actually put on my smoke from my smudge in the video I was recording, because this video is as a response to Frivi. So firstly, Wela'lin Meskeyi. Janasi. Yeah, it's my alarm. You know it's my alarm. You're being show off. This is my dog. Wait. Wela'lin for everything that you do. I watch your ASMR. It's extremely helpful. And I'm picky. I try to not be picky, but there's reasons. And so thank you for you. Go away. You never want to rub my face anymore. What are you doing? I just took a shower and put this on, and so like he likes to get the smell on him afterwards. Anyways, I was gonna respond originally before you had asked about the makeup thing in your last video about multiplicity. I'll do that in a second. This is actually ashes from my morning smudge. I do it twice a day, sometimes more, to clear out all the Wendigo feels, which is all the, yes, we see the your baby, which is all the feelings of misery and greed and hatred and all that kind of stuff that tend to well up in us a whole lot. No mood, we worship the word. Mi guesso. We'll see if he actually goes. There we go. He's a troublemaker, which is what Mimi gets was trickster. I'm still learning to say it, so I might be saying it wrong. I'm a Mi'kmaq mix, and like a lot of Mi'kmaq that don't live at home, it's because our people got deported or moved out or left a long time ago because of either we were forced to or safety or whatever. It's a long story. This is up in eastern Canada. Mi'kmaq still live up there. And all the way down into Maine. And as far over as parts of New York. But anyways, we travel around. Anyways, I put this on because it helps me. The smell, wemajita'si, I'm in mourning. The smell helps me clear my head. I'm in mourning because I've been mourning most of my life. Not trying to be too wah. But, you know, growing up in America, especially Massachusetts territories, which is Massachusetts, as an indigenous kid, indigenous mixed trans queer kid is, especially back in the 80s, is, yeah, it was an experience. And I'm still, I'm going to be healing from that probably my entire life. And because of that, I heal other people, which is why I got into behavioral sciences, because when I was little, from as young as I can remember, was told I was crazy, but it's because the system around us is crazy. So, more and more people are finding out about multiplicity right now, and you didn't do anything wrong. Meskeyi, I'm sorry that you got so scared about talking about it. A lot of people are. Part of that is because of the way that behavior is treated currently in most imperialist systems, so that's the US, Canada, UK, etc., a lot of places. Which is that imperialist behavioral sciences negates the fact that the person is actually an individual and has individual needs and health needs and has a history. Like, don't get me wrong, it takes down all that history, but then it still tries to lump everybody into singular boxes without and discouraging things like comorbidity and the like, which is anti-intersectional. Everything is intersectional. Every single stimuli you're around intersects with your life. It doesn't mean you necessarily carry it with you at all times, but what you take in as stimuli is with you. And when you let it go, it comes back at some point or another as memory or otherwise, and we'll go into that another time. You know, the only way you can time travel, go into another time. go into Rick and Morty another time too, though Rick and Morty keeps poking at a lot of these things. And there's an anime we've been watching recently, me and my hubby, I think it's Akaiba, I could be wrong, which is very helpful to this. But, so multiplicity is the fact that you as a individual, and this is for all species, you as an individual mirror things throughout your life because that's how you learn to survive. And so when you're taught that you can only be one thing and that the mirrors that you are, that you've been throughout your life, or that you will become, or that you learn are wrong and shouldn't get, you know, names or treated differently or anything like that, it's just a really ignorant way that we're taught to be as a species currently. That goes into why I wear this why when wemajita'si, why I'm in mourning, why when I leave this house I don't usually typically sound much like this, and this, the way I talk, actually gets more different kinds of accented because of all the places I've lived, the languages that I've been learning to speak throughout my life, etc., etc. But when I go out this door, I try to retain this, but you know, you get the barrage of everything around you, and that can be hard. Multiplicity is your way of engaging with your internal landscapes, and that's your way of interacting with everything. If we're talking indigenous thought process about it, we could say time immemorial, which is the everything. You're talking about other universes and other personalities, and the thing is, and I was talking with a new friend about this the other day, because this is the conversations we have all the time, how most like Afrofuturism, and how most indigenous folks and a lot of African folks, and when I say indigenous, I mean anybody that lived in any of the Americas and Canada counts and islands before colonization. We all knew this shit, and we still do know these things, and other cultures still know these things. Hinduism goes into it all the time. And it's a fact that, you know, time isn't linear. That's impossible. It also isn't just nout, one, singular. Just like people are not necessarily singular. They can be multiple, and they typically are. And inhibiting our internal family structures and our ways of understanding ourselves are detrimental. Weed helps with understanding these things because it loosens you up. Obviously, if you're taking weed and it's, you know, the wrong kind for you, it's obviously going to mess you up. And also, I do think everything is sacred in therapy. So if you don't feel that it's therapeutic, then you shouldn't be doing it. Or if you're finding it's only doing so much therapy and you need more help, then people should be getting more help. This isn't directly you, Frivi, this is in general. Because intersectionalism, because you should be pulling in or allowing life to flow to you, alikt, to you, as what it knows that you need to heal yourself. So you bringing up multiplicity just means that you needed some people to answer you, and hopefully some other people have. I'm going to be putting some links down below. I will do some more videos and talks about it, because I've been talking about it and talking to other people that work in it, research it, live it, etc., for over a decade. Well over a decade. And what it boils down to is that you should treat these parts of yourself the same way you try to treat other people, which is as somebody that you can learn something from, as a new friend. And if boundaries get ignored, then you reaffirm those boundaries, or you tell those parts of yourself that you can't engage at the moment. I know that sounds weird, but especially because most humans don't do that with each other anymore, and they definitely don't do that with the other animals that they live around, because, you know, they have a right to act that way. We'll go into that another time. In the things I'm linking below, there are steps to do with it. I know a lot of people say it's from trauma. I don't think period multiplicity is from trauma. I think people who have trauma are more prone to tap into it, just like queer folk and marginalized folk are more prone to tap into things like this, because it's inherently a part of our life. So, and I also find people that talk to a vast amount of people, just like I used to when I was back on the internet more, doing a lot of what I'm trying to do again now. And similar to what you do, you end up having so many more influences and opinions and thoughts, and there's no way to keep that in one box. It has to be allowed to cycle through as what it is. So, yes, masculine folk do wear makeup. I wish more guys would feel comfortable with it. They're shamed out of it. Like they're shamed out of most things. It's dangerous to do things like this. I've been in many a fight because of things like this. Not intentionally. That's the way things work sometimes. I do think, though, we're all getting better now at respecting one another about things, and I do think if people do things and they stand their ground about it, and they also are willing to listen to one another and then respect one another's boundaries, we're going to be a lot better off in general. I think that is happening. I think that's the internet's causing that. And the fact that people are realizing, as much as the internet is helpful, nowadays the internet's trying to, well, corporations are trying to block a lot of things on the internet, like Google shadow banning, all the things it is right now. So that's making people have to actually talk directly or like this. So, before my thing cuts off and I go for too long, Wela'lin again, thank you. Your channel, Gisulk, I love it. And yeah, if anybody has any questions on multiplicity, feel free to ask. If anybody has any questions on any of this, feel free to ask. It doesn't bother me. And I will be trying to make more. I'm just always busy with indigenous resistance work, healing the folk around me that come to me, working with resistance for marginalized folk, POC, queer, disabled, etc., working against the entire ICE situation, working to, regain freedom to all my relations. So I tend to get busy with those things, but I know this helps, so I gotta get more on it. Yeah, I think that was good. Okay, I'm gonna cut it there. Wela'lin, yes, much love for what you do, and for you being you, because you should just be what you're meant to, what your spirit is. I think you know that better than anybody else. I know it's hard. It's hard for me too, but we all do it. We all get over it. We all get over our own ways of getting in the way of ourselves, because the flow will go if you let it. So just let it flow. Namoltis, which means see you later. Oh, and I hope your everything is wasochwek. I hope it's lit. I hope your Jabakto, your sacred fire, is wasochwek, is lit. Mwah. Have a good day.